Okay, so there are times when a football club makes a few mistakes in the transfer window. Sometimes a club would buy a player for a lot of money and expect the player to become their savior. But more often than not, the player crumbles under the weight of expectations and never reaches true potential. In recent years, this is something that we've normally associated with Manchester United, who have spent over £1 billion on new players, but are still nowhere near the competing with the likes of Liverpool and Manchester City. And then there's this category of clubs that for some odd reason decided not to buy an obviously talented player for some reasons that cannot even be considered idiotic. For all the great signings they've made throughout their illustrious history, Barcelona have also made some really questionable decisions. From signing players on lucrative deals to seeing them contribute towards nothing, to letting players go when they only needed time to show their true potential. Barcelona have made a ton of mistakes. So today, we're going to talk about 5 players that Barcelona should have signed, but for some ridiculous or weird reason decided not to. Erling Haaland. 3 years back, Barcelona, like a lot of big teams in Europe, were scouting Erling Haaland, who at that time was scoring goals for fun in the Austrian Bundesliga for Red Bull Salzburg. In fact, Erling Haaland's agent Mino Raiola offered Barcelona the young striker for only 20 million euros. However, the Blaugrana management decided not to move for the teen striker because the club's scouting department did not think that the Norwegian was technically good to ever become the member of the starting 11. Fast forward to 2022 and Juan Laporta is eager to sign the young striker, and this time around, the entire operation is going to cost him upwards of 150 million euros. This goes on to show just how bad things were at the Camp Nou when Josep Maria Bartomeu was in charge just over a year ago. Since then, Barcelona have tried to find the right striker for themselves, but to be very honest, nothing has really worked out for them. Karim Benzema. Today, Karim Benzema is the main man at Real Madrid after spending almost a decade playing second fiddle to Cristiano Ronaldo. The Portuguese legend's departure was what the French striker needed to really come into his own. And as Real Madrid looked to set to embark upon a new era of prosperity in the summer, Karim Benzema's value has not depreciated one little bit. At the age of 34, Benzema will go down in history books as one of the greatest players ever to wear the iconic white jersey. But all that could have been much different. During his last season at Olympique Lyon, Benzema had the world at his feet and was attracting interest from clubs in Spain, Italy, and England. However, he only wanted to move to Spain, where both Real Madrid and Barcelona were vying for his signature. As it turns out though, it was the Catalan Giants who made the first move through the former sporting director, Ziki Bergistan. The now Manchester City head honcho says that Benzema was rude during the meeting. Apparently, the Spaniard come all the way from Barcelona to Lyon to meet up with this up-and-coming striker who allegedly did not make eye contact with the Barcelona man. Bergistan did not appreciate Benzema's body language and decided to drop the club's interest in him. Well, we can now say that you can never allow your personal feelings get in the way, especially when it comes to signing a striker who was going to find the net so many times for the next 10 years. Alphonso Davies. If there's one person who has played a huge role in slowly making Canada a powerhouse in North American football, it is Alphonso Davies. The Bayern Munich man is definitely the country's first ever football star, and his arrival in Europe has paved the way for many other Canadians to test out their luck in the old continent. But the story of Alphonso Davies is of football clubs clouding their judgments due to bias. Before he signed for Bayern Munich, scouts from Manchester United, Benfica, Inter Milan, Borussia Dortmund, and Barcelona sent back raving reviews about the fleet-footed fullback. In fact, a United scout once revealed that he compiled 3 separate reports on Davies when he was not even playing in the MLS, only to receive no response. The same actually goes for Barcelona, whose scouting team based in North America informed them about a left back who could become a long-term replacement to Jordi Alba. At that time, Josep Bartomeu was the president and simply didn't want to entertain the thoughts of signing a Canadian player. No thanks, he's a Canadian. Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay, so this particular signing that never happened takes the cake, because if Barcelona had signed Ronaldo, things would have been so different. It also makes us wonder whether Lionel Messi would ever rise to prominence then. All those years ago, when he had already established himself as a global star at Manchester United, Ronaldo now wanted to fulfill a lifelong dream of playing in La Liga. The young forward had a lot of options too, but before all that, it was at Manchester United where Ronaldo would write a story unlike no one else. Barcelona have had their fair share of wingers coming from Portugal, so it was not surprising to see them interested in the teenage forward who had all the talent in the world to become what he has become today. In the summer transfer window where they signed Ronaldinho and Rafael Marquez, Barca approached Sporting for the signing of Cristiano Ronaldo. In fact, Ronaldo was offered to United for 19 million euros, and Sporting gave Barca a discount and offered him for 7 million euros. However, the Catalan Giants decided not to follow through on their interest and instead signed Deco. 6 years later, Ronaldo would leave United to sign for Barca's fierce rivals Real Madrid, and the rest, as they say, is history. And guess who was the Barcelona's president at the time? Josep Maria Bartomeu, a specialist in making boneheaded decisions. Mesut Ozil. For a number of years, Mesut Ozil held the distinction of being one of the best playmakers on the planet. The former German international had superhuman vision and an otherworldly passing ability which we have not seen since he lost his touch. Following a really good 2010 World Cup, the midfielder was the envy of the entire continent, with the likes of Bayern Munich, Manchester United, Real Madrid, and Barcelona desperate to have his signature. And as we all know, Ozil would sign for Real Madrid, where he became a big star. However, it could have turned out very differently according to the former Arsenal man. While speaking about the summer of 2010, Ozil revealed that he wanted to join Barcelona because he grew up supporting them as a kid. However, the move did not happen because according to Ozil, Pep Guardiola, the manager at that time, did not really show much interest in him, and he was even informed by the management that Guardiola was on vacation. His absence made Ozil suspicious, and he instead had a discussion with Jose Mourinho, who was at the Real Madrid dugout at the time. Following discussions with the special one, Ozil decided to sign for the Los Blancos, and in his first season at the Santiago Bernabeu, Ozil amassed 25 assists. A year later, he won the league and the Copa del Rey and represented the club with distinctions for 3 years. So guys, this was our list of 5 players who were rejected by Barcelona for ridiculous reasons. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. And